Sunshine Law next year.
I'm sorry?
Refresh the Sunshine Law.
I just don't.
I don't either, but,
There's a lot of places.
you know. This is good. I don't know what to take that as a compliment.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, it's not sustainable. I'm from, we actually,
Sort of.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, did you really? Yeah, we did that at our last house. I was amazed. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. But it looks great. Probably just, we did pretty much.
we were doing the whole house. It's 12 blocks.
Yeah, we didn't do the maybe nobody sees it. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's good. Getting a lot done.
Yeah. She's not there.
Oh, okay. Real.
Rich, how are you?
Good, how about yourself?
Not too bad.
Hi, it's
Enjoyed a short
Marisol.
week since we were here last?
Yeah, right?
Paul
The other,
Chambers be unable to
Ah,
get
that's what I was gonna ask for.
Carter
Okay.
to today's meeting, so I was double checking what I could do to go by. Thank you.
Okay.
Your document for everything. Yeah.
Hi, it's Marisol. I'm at the Chambers, 5554. It's not recording from Prime Gov, so I just want to let you know that I was going to hit the little red camera with Hilo today for today's LPA meeting. Today is 6th of December. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, they kept the kiosks up a few but you know, there's a water fountain, so they did that recently. But now, there's a one
Where is it? Ah, down there, okay. I was looking at the two of them, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Ah. I knew it had to be there somewhere. Here comes trouble. He's got the box here.
And you still have
You know, young lady, you know what you do when you're sitting there? How are you? Hello?
Yes, what are the comments?
You know what you do when you're sitting there?
He's got a fly right tonight. He's got the box with him.
I was volunteer to chaperone Saturday.
No dance lessons tonight?
What's that?
No dance class tonight?
This Tuesday, no.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, I was gonna go over there. The thing was, I didn't know how long that planning thing was gonna go.
You didn't come to 9 o'clock, you guys.
Oh, yeah, Do you want to sit over here or do you want to sit over there? You can sit over there if you like. You want to sit over there? Or do you want to sit right here? Where do you feel more comfortable?
You ready?
We feel so privileged. I don't know,
You got 5 minutes and that's all you
Okay,
got.
that's fine, so
Just kidding. Just kidding. Before someone takes you seriously, right?
Good evening, welcome to the November 6th Local Planning Board Agency. All meetings order. We'll do a quick roll call. Everyone is present except for Emma and Jeanette. If we could take a moment, please, silence our cell phones so that we don't disturb. Item on the agenda will be approval of minutes. Is there any consensus of minutes?
No.
Second.
Mr. Cameron. And motion is all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Minutes have been approved. Time for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak to the board that is not on the agenda, you want to say something? This is the time to do so.
Anything you want to say?
Why are you putting her on the spot? Seeing no comments, I will close the public comment section. The only item we have is the public meeting. We have one item, and it's item 2460 Sterling Creek Parkway, the applicant present. If you're confident, podium, state your name and address.
Sheila Sikra, Streamline Permitting, 100 Fort Mason Drive, Eustis, Florida. I represent Florida.
If you want to just have a delay.
Okay, okay.
Just so
Different
we
layout
can
than I'm
idea
used
where
to.
you're coming
Usually staff represents the case and then I.
Well, they will after you're done.
Fill in the blanks, okay, yeah. So, because the limitations of the code, the way the code is written, most everybody on that street has to have a variance because it isn't, 250 square feet isn't quite large enough for a boathouse. And then you have a deck, beside it that is the same length. And Steve, long time no see. Sorry. It is the same length as the boathouse, and 12 feet is kind of a rough, but it's a good size for the width of the deck to make room for chairs and tables and stuff. So, all the limitations of the code kind of make it so that most people have to have a variance on that lake. This particular lot is highs dramatically, and so the property boundaries converge until there isn't room for a dock used in there. There's nothing oversized about the project. There's nothing, abnormal about the size. It's actually a little smaller than some of them. But it just doesn't meet the setback because the neighbor doesn't mind, and it doesn't affect anyone else because the large parcel to the south is all wetland. Okay.
Can we please hear from yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Chairman. So, today we have a request for the local planning agency to approve the following deviation request for 24 2460 Sterling Creek Parkway. Sorry. A 7-foot deviation to the maximum 40-foot extension permitted for boat docks, representing 17.5% deviation to the extension requirement of the proposed dock to extend 47 feet. A 2.5-foot deviation to the minimum required side setback requirement of 10 feet, representing 25% deviation to the side setback requirement to permit the proposed boat dock to be located 7.5 feet from the south side property line. A 38 square foot deviation to the maximum 250 square feet permitted for boathouses, representing a 15.2% deviation to boathouse square footage requirements to permit the proposed boathouse to be 288 square feet. A 38 and lastly a 38 square foot deviation to the maximum 250 square feet permitted for terminal platforms, representing 15.2% deviation to terminal platform square footage requirements to permit the proposed terminal platform to be 288 square feet. The applicant property owner is Rory Ryan. Let's see here. Subject property is located on lot 797 within the Live Oak Reserve Plan Unit Development. The property's future land use designation and zoning district are both Plan Unit Development. The subject property is located in Phase 4 within the Live Oak Reserve PUD, which is designated as a single-family Live Oak Reserve PUD development area. The proposed deviation will permit the applicant to develop a boathouse and boat dock 47 feet long and 7.5 feet from the south side property line. The proposed deviation will also permit the applicant to develop a 288 square foot boathouse and a 288 square foot terminal platform. Proposed boathouse and boat dock will be located entirely on Live Oak Reserve Homeowners Association property. Horseshoe Lake is owned by Live Oak Reserve HOA. The assistant attorney reviewed the boat dock easement agreement and concluded that the HOA has approved the location and construction of the boathouse and boat dock in connection with 2460 Sterling Creek Parkway. The applicant submitted an application for the requested deviation and has provided a written narrative for the criteria for approval as required in LDC Section 2.7C. Staff has reviewed the deviation application for LDC Section 2.7 and has summarized the findings below. Number 1, the existence of special conditions. The proposed boathouse will be located on Live Oak Reserve Homeowners Association property, and the applicants have submitted a letter of authorization from the HOA. There is a significant conservation easement on the property, and the applicants have submitted an ERP self-certification receipt from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, which allows for the construction of a single-family dock. Due to compatibility, equal setback deviation, scale, and intensity are compatible with and will not adversely impact land use activities on adjacent properties. Number 3 is proper use of mitigating techniques. The applicant proposes to install a turbidity barrier in the lake prior to any construction in the water, plant at least 3 semi-aquatic plants along the shoreline as approved by Section 12.8 of the LDC, and then they plan to install and maintain reflective material on the end of the boat dock and terminal platform. Number 4 is the protection of environmentally sensitive areas. The proposed deviation is not necessary to conserve and protect the natural environment and is not anticipated to affect environmentally sensitive areas negatively. Number 5, only the minimum deviation granted. The requested deviation is the minimum necessary to allow for the proposed boathouse to achieve its desired function. Number 6 is open space and other facilities. While the proposed deviation would not prevent the applicant from maintaining at least 25% open space in the lot, it does not create more usable and suitably located open space and other public and common facilities that would otherwise be provided under strict application of the minimum LDC requirements. Number 7, existing non-conforming uses of other property on the basis for approval. No non-conforming situations on neighboring properties or districts were considered during the review of proposed deviation. And last, number 8, other information. The applicant provided a written narrative of the criteria for approval as provided in LDC Section 2.7C and 4.15E. Staff recommends approval of the deviation development order, attachment 4, which grants the following deviations along with 4 conditions. Number 1, a 7-foot deviation to the maximum boat dock length limit of 40 feet, presenting an 18% deviation to the maximum boat dock length limit to permit the proposed boat dock to extend 47 feet. A 2.5-foot deviation to the minimum 10-foot required side setback, representing a 25% deviation to the side yard setback requirement to permit the proposed boat dock to be located 7.5 feet from the south side property line. A 38 square foot deviation to the maximum boathouse square footage limit of 250 square feet, representing a 15% deviation to the maximum boathouse square footage limit to permit the proposed boathouse to be 288 square feet. Finally, a 38 square foot deviation to the maximum terminal platform square footage limit of 250 square feet, representing a 15% deviation to the maximum terminal platform square footage limit to permit the proposed terminal platform to be 288 square feet. For the conditions prior to the issuance of a certificate of completion for the new addition by the Building Services Division, number 1, the applicant shall install a turbidity barrier in the lake prior to any construction in the water. Number 2, the applicant shall plant at least 3 plants from LDC section 12.8 along the shoreline. And number 3, the applicant shall install reflective material on the end of the boat dock and terminal platform. And number 4, the applicant shall not remove any trees, shrubs, or vegetation from the conservation easement or engage in any of the prohibited uses expressly listed in the Live Oak Reserve Conservation Easement Agreement. The LPA has the following options: approve the deviation as submitted, approve the deviation as submitted with conditions, approve a lesser deviation, approve a lesser deviation with conditions, or deny the deviation. With that, this concludes staff presentation, and we are now available for questions.
Yes, Mr. Rich.
Yeah, one question for staff. Can you tell me approximately how far apart the proposed boat dock and the boat dock to the north will be? Or anybody can answer that question that knows?
I'm not aware of the distance between the 2 boat docks.
Okay. I guess the only reason I'm curious is I don't know if the dock to the north was on a 10-foot setback or greater. Didn't have privy to that information. And given the fact that the property to the south is owned by the HOA, I was just curious if there was sufficient separation between the two. If not, if the dock could be bent a little bit further south to make sure that there was sufficient space. And adding on to that, did anybody hear from the adjacent property owner to the north to see if they had any objections or any problems?
I can tell you.
Please don't care. And you don't have to say your name for the record.
Can you speak up? We can hear you.
And I can tell you, Mr. Rich, that the property owner to the north of us is Scott McLeod. He's a former law partner of mine and a friend, and he's not opposed to this. I can represent that to the board. I can't tell you how far the distance is between.
It'll be about 20 feet.
I was going to say about 20 or 25 feet.
That's fine. And I'm not opposed to, I'm just trying to find out, make sure that there was no objection by the person to the north. The fact that he's your friend and you don't think he cares is irrelevant to me. As long as he didn't object, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And the distance is fine too. So
Okay,
that's all I have.
And if I may, for the record, the north side setback is not in question here as far as the deviation. The 12 feet is more than the required side setback. But
Wanted to add was that all of the other deviations, the minor deviations, could have been really just that side setback that we couldn't.
That's correct.
That he couldn't approve.
the south side setback is the 25%.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I realize the same thing. That's the only reason that we're actually here. So my curious question really was, since it's 7.5 feet to the south, and I realize it's high, it's tight, and 12 feet to the north, why didn't you put it right in the middle, do 10 on one side and 9.5 on the other, and then you would have been less than the deviation? I'm just curious.
It's because they don't actually care about the side setback of the boathouse out in the lake.
Yeah.
They really only care about the side setback of the walkway.
Correct.
So because of the location of the walkway and where it meets the terminal platform, we could off the walkway a little bit further to that side, but then it would have come in the middle of the deck. It's kind of an ergonomics thing.
Yeah, because I noticed the shape of the lake also there kind of turns, in essence, it's not straight, you continue on straight, it turns out at the land change.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you're kind of closer to that side. That's another reason why I was wondering why it wasn't.
But he's been out there, checked water depth and everything, and it's all been very dialed in. And so the boathouse is exactly where it needs to be in order to have adequate depth. And
And there'll never be anything built in that, you heard you say it was wetland,
Yeah.
so nobody else will have a problem, because otherwise you could be blocking some of that.
Exactly.
And that's why
There is
that's
a
how close the
conservation
boathouses are
Yeah.
together.
For now.
There's the conservation easement on the south.
Gotcha.
And the other thing that's important to note is there are large trees on that conservation
Sure.
easement. And there's a pine tree that's probably, I wrote it in the tree survey, but it's 18-inch across,
Oh, right.
whatever the proper
Diameter, yeah.
word is. So we tried to place the walkway so that no trees had to be taken out.
And clear as well that the tract to the south is a conservation area owned by the Live Oak HOA.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm.
Quick question, it's probably for city staff. I noticed that one of the special conditions was that ERB certification received from the Florida DEP, but I noticed, I don't believe it was in our packet.
Don't have it with, but we do have.
I will take staff's word for it that the certification is in the packet. I guess in the future, if there's a document that's part of the special conditions, just make sure it's in our packet so we can review it, so we can double check. That's my only comment.
Yeah, I actually spent some time with the city's environmental consultant, Dave Mankin, talking about it, because I had come across one of those before and wanted to make sure that was something that the city's dealt with, and he was pretty confident and familiar with it as well.
Sure. Just next time.
Yeah, of course.
The packet, so we can look at it, make sure all boxes are checked. But that's all we really want.
I don't have any other pleasure report.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
Motion to approve deviation request for 2460 Sterling Creek Parkway, project number 220101. Y'all have other stuff.
As recommended by.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Rich? Any comments on this before we call the vote? Mr. Rich?
One comment, I'll offer discussion from Mr. Rich. Him and his neighbor are both lawyers, so I'm sure it'll work out.
One way or the other. Just ready to questions. So all those in favor of the deviation for 2460 Sterling Creek, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Open your project. Next item on the agenda would be public hearing. We do not have any public hearings on this or something. Okay. You're shaking your head. I thought maybe I missed something. Discussion on anyone, anybody wants to discuss anything while we're here?
I'd like to recognize my daughter Emma for being so good and sitting there. It's very exciting to be today.
I second the motion.
Okay, nothing else. Future meetings, we have Tuesday, January 10th, and Tuesday, February 7th. Is anybody available for those meetings?
Is there something on the agenda for those days, or we're just holding?
10th, February, January
You all
10th.
may have your LDC.
We have that here, yeah.
Was that on the 10th?
That's on the 10th,
That's
January
on
10th. Okay. We agreed with that on the last meeting, last week.
Is it gonna be one of those pizza meetings?
Well, I don't know about pizza.
When does the 2045 mobility plan come up again for us? It's not. Okay.
No.
Okay. And then I guess, are we going to have on January 10th or is it February?